From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening here on Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you and the American people in this fourth stimulus recon. I'll go over the breaking news about the recon procedural and the recon substantive as Nancy Pelosi speaks out and we get new updates about dates, and they're sooner than initially thought. Then we cut into the incredible details about the recon versus the recon substantive. We'll go over when they get that bill to the final vote, when will we see it, and what should we expect in there. A lot of breaking news happening just late this afternoon. I have all the details in this big Evenings LA broadcast. Then we cut to Fistimos, which raises your benefits up a lifetime, and that's happening just a few days from now. And then we cut to the big money as George from Los Angeles, California, got $8,000 for rent overnight. Really excited for him and his family. And Louis getting $18,000 for SNAP. But Mark getting $50,000 from this channel. I'll show you how you can get these big sums of money and why you're entitled to these sums of money, and I want you to get it. It's a great night. It's a great evening. A lot happening and a lot of breaking news you're going to hear for the first time tonight on Evenings LA. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful evening across the board. Unfortunately, it got hotter here in Los Angeles. If you saw me at noontime today, live on air from Santa Monica, I said, I feel the heat coming on, and it did. The UV index is at highest level currently in Santa Monica. So, boy, here we go. Jump in the live chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update tonight, renewed optimism as new deadlines and new dates are given, and they're sooner than initially thought. I have incredible great news in the final 15 minutes of this video. Stay to the very end. We're going to be going over that fourth stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to you in this massive recon, the biggest the United States government has ever seen, spending on the American people. I have the latest details on that. Then we go to the Nancy Pelosi comments that came in, and they are deliciousness. She's ensuring that everything is getting done in a certain fashion, and we have new details of whether we're starting on the House side or the Senate side. Wow. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. That's happening in just a few days as the legislative process starts on that. And then a familiar face is joining the channel and is back in the mix. You'll see that in the final 15 minutes of this video. But first, let's get some money. And boy, let's look at that money. As Mark got over $50,000 from this channel, I'm going to show you in this recording how you get this money. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Sir Lloyd at 8 o'clock. Overnight's crypto is right on this video. Don't lift a finger. Sort of like senators, this video will automatically take you to Overnight's crypto airing live on the channel right now. But subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 3,000 likes. Every like helps, and consider becoming a member so you get access to all the incredible information of all this big money you can get. With that, let's cut right to those monthly stimulus checks. Senate versus House, House versus Senate. Let's go over everything you need to know starting right now. They're both monthly, and they're both from Congress, but they have different approaches. House, pandemic plus 1 year, Senate July to December. Let's go over the payouts. House, $1,000 after the first month. Senate unknown, but word on the street is the Senate would pay you this. Deliciousness, $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. The breaking news about the pandemic and the strain is the booster. Announcement suggests that by the end of Thursday evening, the FDA may have approved the booster for people who have low immune systems, and the CDC could approve it shortly thereafter, which means that the booster vaccine could be approved in the next few hours or days for certain segments of the American population. That's great news because of Delta. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. The House bill would likely pay the full run, which would be more than 12 checks, would be more than 1 year. And under that House bill would be more than $13,000. So compare that to this on the Senate. Oh boy, I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump on the live chat right now and vote House of Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets this forced stimulus check? You do. Single individual, $75,000 or less. Democrats represent, they're going to give you a forced stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less. Democrats represent, they're giving you a forced stimulus check. Double it. Family of four, Democrats represent, they're giving you a forced stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Democrats represent, they're giving you a forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. And the forced stimulus check is not going to be a different amount for different people. It's the same across the board. And finally, the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check. And I learned that lesson, sadly, on the beach a few weeks ago. I was on the beach and the viewer said, "Hey, LA, is that check behind you?" "Oh, it is." Like, wave at the check. I'm not going to wave at the check. It's not a waivable check. Go wave at the check. Okay. "Hey, check, how you doing?" It's LA. Purple, purple beach, purple me, purple everything. Didn't wave back. Maybe he doesn't like the purple. Rude check. Viewer said it's not a rude check. It's just not a waivable check. Didn't you learn that? I've watched your videos. You set me up. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we cut to the incredible details as Nancy Pelosi speaks out with new guidelines about dates. I know you've been asking about dates, so I'll go over those coming up in a second. And they're sooner than initially thought. Great renewed optimism as the finish line is still right in front of us. Then we cut to the dissemination of recon substantive versus recon procedural. And we'll go over what the president's saying, what Jalopal's saying, and what you need to know going into this evening. Then we have a new deadline for another part of the recon, and it's breaking this evening as well. A lot happening. Stay the final 15 minutes of this video. But first, let's get some money. Get a pen and paper ready because, boy, there's rent, there's utilities, there's food, and there's internet, and I want to get all that for you right now. If you just found this channel, thank you for joining, and thank you for joining this channel. And if you've not got to these sums of money, tonight's your night. If you've got one of the sums of money, tonight's your night to get the other sums. And if you try to get the sums, tonight will be the night that's going to make a difference. First, let's start with some rent. I had been saying I could get you $5,000 for rent. I was wrong. I can't get you $5,000 for rent. But I can get you $27,000 for rent. As Elizabeth, Mark, Nancy, and Richard, and Nisi, all Purple Hawk members, got massive payouts for rent across the board. As you saw in the opening remarks, a wonderful California resident sent me a private message on social media, Facebook. His name is George. He got $8,000 for rent, so congratulations for George. If you have success stories, send me DMs on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram so I can read them on air. Pamela reports to me that she got $12,000 for rent. Carla tells me she got utilities and more. Tiffany reports to me she got $13,000 for rent and other items. Randy tells me he got $6,000 for rent and other items. Jennifer tells me she got $5,000 for rent and other items. And Cecilia tells me she got money for heat. Congratulations to them. For utilities, water, gas, and heating oil, I said I could get you $300. Oh, I was wrong. I can't get you $300. I can get you $7,000. Congratulations, Nancy. Mark, $6,500, and Angela, $5,000. For SNAP, which is money for food, I thought maybe I can get you $4,000 to $6,000 because a few viewers did get that. Well, let's see what the Purple Hawks got. Are you ready, Purple Hawks? Here we go. Bam, Louie. Oh my goodness, Louie. $18,000 he got for SNAP. John, $10,000 to $12,000 for SNAP. Nancy, $5,000. And for people who got multiple sums of money, two or three items, let's see it. Are you ready? Can I hear a drum roll? Here we go. Bam, Nancy, congratulations. $32,000 she got for rent, utilities, and SNAP. Mark, $32,000 for two items, and Nisi, $23,000 for three items. Congratulations to all these people, and if you're in the live chat, congratulate them as more. But boy, then came Mark. Yes, Mark got two items of $32,000, and this is the power of the Purple Power. I had said on air for over a week to Mark, I said, you got two items, Mark. Why haven't you gotten the third? I mean, it's SNAP. SNAP's not that difficult. Go get some SNAP. You're at $32,000. Go get some SNAP. I thought, maybe you get $5,000 more. I said, maybe $8,000 to bring you to $40,000. Well, Mark heard my videos. Mark pushed. Mark told his neighbors about my videos. One of his neighbors got $20,000 for rent. He says several people in his block are now watching my videos. So Mark got SNAP within 5 days of watching my videos. How much did you get? $19,000. annualized, bringing his grand total to $50,000. Congratulations to Mark and everyone else. And this is LALATE. Now, this is what we've been doing since day one. Cashing checks, not tracking checks. Donuts aren't allowed here. This is a low sugar channel. In spring of last year, I got people $25 million of EIDL loans in their hands. This channel launched because people had applied for the EIDL loans and EIDL grants were not getting a penny. So I stepped in on air and answered the questions on air, solving their applications. Then me and the volunteers, during the nights, during the evenings, during the overnights when I'm not recording, we're hand-holding them through the application process to finalize and fix their problems that they had. And we got $25 million of EIDL loans approved. Then in fall of 2020, second stimulus checks of $600 were not coming. So I said to viewers, instead of $600, let's get $6,000. And Tyrone heard me. He got $14,000 for rent, paid all his rent from December to May for his family of four out of Boston. Now we're doing it again. The only difference is you. You're getting not $250,000 like I got viewers in fall of 2020, but potentially $250,000 a week. Massive sums of money are being gotten by Purple Hawks from this channel, and it's your day to get that money as well. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to go over some stuff with you. First, I'm going to show you 6 different places to reach out to. Reach out to each. If you get a no at one, reach out to the next. Number 2, each place has their own eligibility. So if one says no, don't worry because the next one has different eligibility. Number 3, they have their own pots of money. Number 4, there's not a single state in the United States that does not pay any money. They all pay money. Number 5, listen to the keywords in this video because viewers tell me those keywords really help them. All right, you ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID or mortgage utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch McConnell's fan club. Does it exist? I don't know. And there you go. Deliciousness. If you got money for rent or utilities, post in the live chat right now. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of the money that's coming to you is from SNAP. What is SNAP? SNAP is money for food. It comes from Department of Agriculture. Reach out to Department of Agriculture. Louis got $18,000 for it. Mark got $10,000 to $12,000. Mark got $19,000. John got $10,000 to $12,000. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got as well. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Whoa, why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up a lifetime. Raise your benefits up between now and December by 15%. SNAP is an easy thing to get. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check, so why would you not get it? And we're killing it. We're killing it. If you got SNAP, post in the live chat right now. We are only 12 minutes of this video. We're flying. We've gotten $27,000 for rent. We've gotten $19,000 for utilities and $9,000 for utilities and $19,000 for SNAP, and we're just getting started. Can we top that? Yes. As we go into this next pot of money, which is the refund check from your state due to overpayment of unemployment benefits and a computer error. Not your computer, it works fine. The federal government has ordered this money returned back to you. Where is it landing? In direct deposit, can you track it? Yeah, contact your state and say, hi state, where's that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you track it with a computer that's actually turned on? It sort of helps. And finally, the refund check coming back from IRS for that 2020 return. Margaret got it, Todd got it, Michael got it. It is incredible. And guess what? It's a waivable check. I know, Mitch, every time I say that, you just want to run in the corner and hide. Yeah, waivable check, those horrible words. It's a waivable check. There's a new wave every week. The average payout is about $1,200 to $1,400. A new wave of direct deposit and mail checks is every week. More about that in a second. But if you're in the live chat and you have not posted success stories for rent, utilities, food, and internet, please do. Because the spirit of this channel is me helping you and you helping other people. That's how we survive here. That's how we get going. And so when you post your success stories in the live chat, you help people 3 magical ways. Number 1, when you post your success stories, you inspire people to get the money because suddenly they see all these people getting these sums of money. And when they see these sums of money, they realize, wow, I should go get those sums of money. There's also people who never thought this was possible. Rent, being paid, I never thought of that. Utilities, I never thought of that. Then I have viewers like Larry Maui who never heard of SNAP. A lot of people have never heard of SNAP till they found this channel. And now they're getting their food paid by for the federal government for 6, 8, 9 months. Yes. So you really inspire people. Number 2, when you post your success stories and you have multiple sums of items, you inspire people to get multiple sums of items. It started with Art Sullivan, who got 3, and Nisi, who got 3. They inspired Nancy to get 3. You saw Mark, he only got 2. I told him to go get 3, and he got 3rd. It also updates us about the numbers. And with that, let's cut back to that continuation of unemployment benefits. How much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov and do a transcript search. And 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal the taxes you paid and the tax return you file. And then the other 70% of the time it'll reveal stuff you never wanted to know. Stuff you wish you had forgotten. Like when Nancy goes to that San Francisco hairstyle, does she say, I want the Mitch McConnell special? Can we top that? We can. It'll also sometimes reveal the refund check that's coming back to you. We can. As we go into the second part of your Forced Stimulus Check Update 2021, starting right now. Deal done. The Forced Stimulus Procedural Recon has passed the U.S. Senate. Next up is the House. This is great news because let's go over what a recon is. We've had 3 of them so far. This is the 4th. Each of the prior ones were about this big. This one is about that big. Just a little bit of difference. The prior ones that were about this big, 90% of them was money going to corporations, leaving you about this much money. This one is all for you. So the fact that it's enormously bigger than the prior stimulus packages and it's all for you is totally different. It's also called the progressive spending package because they're spending money on you. There's far more than enough room to put a stimulus check in there, and away we go. How did they do this? They took out the roads and bridges originally in the recon and put them into something called the bipartisan. And now the bipartisan and the recon procedure have both passed the U.S. Senate. How did they do this? By taking the roads and bridges out of the recon. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass, says a conservative publication confirming my reporting. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, put in the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. But the recon also made the bipartisan passable. Once that recon was shrunk, they were able to build it back out. And this is something the first time you're hearing on Evenings LALATE. The $3.5 trillion price tag will pass easily in the House. The recon procedural. Why? Because the House of Representatives were part of the discussion, agreeing upon the $3.5 trillion with the senators. It's not like the senators came up with the numbers by themselves. In fact, all the quotes I generally have are from House members, not senators. Representative Richie Torres said we have to have a recon that goes as large as a larger recon. You got it, 3.5 trillion passed. Representative Elon Omar, we have to have a recon that goes as big as we want it. You got it, 3.5 trillion passed. And the Progressive Caucus was meeting with the White House daily. That was both the House and the Senate members to ensure the recon was big enough. They got it, 3.5 trillion passed. In fact, Brian Schatz, who is a senator, and Jalapal, who is a House member, confirmed that the White House told them to protect the recon because everything that's in the recon is checks for you. Let's go over what a recon is, what is a bipartisan, so you separate the details out. Then we're going to go over what a recon procedural is versus what a recon substantive is. And then we're going to go over the writing of a recon substantive. You know, it's times like this that's important that you listen to the whole video, because nowhere else on the face of the planet are you going to see the detail you see on this channel. At noontime today, someone jumped in the live chat and said, I saw the infrastructure bill and there was no checks for the American people in the infrastructure bill. Not listening. Gotta listen carefully. And sadly, needless to say, broadcast media may have been the source of the person's confusion because broadcast media is butchering the story. So let's go over where your money is. It's not in the infrastructure, and where the roads and bridges are located. First, recon versus bipartisan. Recon is your money. That's $3.5 trillion, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill, also called the progressive spending plan. People quote an article by AOC or Bernie Sanders. Bipartisan, also called the infrastructure, not your money. This is about roads and bridges. People quote an article about it are Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, Mitt Romney, $1.5 trillion price tag. In essence, we really have 3 bills. We have bipartisan, recon procedural, and recon substantive. Okay, let's go over what is the difference between recon procedural and recon substantive. So recon procedural, which just passed the Senate, asks only really 2 questions. Do you agree to do a recon at a later date with a price tag of $3.5 trillion? Total price tag. Yes. Okay. And then of that total price tag, $3.5 trillion, do you agree to split the money among the U.S. committees, congressional committees, the following percentages? 10% to this committee, 4% to that committee. Yes. Done. That's all it talks about. That is all that a recon procedural has in there. A total price tag and how much of that money to be given to committees of the U.S. government. Then, after that is passed, then the next step is with those committees allocated money, like $10 to this committee and $20 to that committee, then they come back and determine how those committees are to spend that $10 or $20. Recon substance then goes over the question of how are the committees going to spend the money, who, when, how, and by what means. And that is where the actual recon bill that everyone would think about happens. And who writes the recon bill? Well, the recon bill is currently being written by those House subcommittee members. And who are those House subcommittee members? They're dedicated to different subject matters of the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means is responsible for writing about stimulus checks, unemployment benefits. When each of those subcommittees are done writing the recon substantive, they send those pages up to Schumer. 10 of 10 pages, for example. 100 pages, that he puts a big ass on it for so slow. For Schumer, for salty, so that is how when you got it done. For Senate. And there you go. But later in this video, you're going to see that maybe it'll have an H on it, not an S for House of Representatives. That's coming up in the breaking news in the final 15 minutes of the video. I told you there's a lot of breaking news today. And away we go. How do we get to the spot? We got to the spot from Jalopal, who recently wrote Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote on the recon. Well, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats who are part of the 100+, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to give Americans forced stimulus checks when we write the forced stimulus recon. Well, they're writing right now, Purple Power. You got to push. Make sure they deliver on their promises to us. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Subcommittee, the one we just went over? Yeah. Recently wrote the president a letter saying when we write the forced stimulus recon, which is what they're doing right now, we will be putting monthly forced stimulus checks in there. Well, you got to push Purple Power because they say they're putting it in there. Can we top that? Yes. As Biden did it, he went overseas about 7 weeks ago to sign something very complicated and boring. And the great news is it's not in the recon because the recon would be more boring than it is. And away we go. What is that thing? It's the global minimum corporate tax rate. Minimum, so boring. And now it's not in the recon. Making the recon easier, right? Easier to vote on. Easier to call the vote on. And easier to pass because this confusing thing is not in there. And can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, there is so much breaking news tonight. Nancy Pelosi speaks out about timelines, about which goes first and which goes second. She also updates us about her prior comments. It's all great news. Then we get new indications of dates even earlier than we initially were told. Third, I give you new indication about how easy breezy recon procedural bill will be, and then we go into recon substantive. And finally, a familiar face is back in the mix. And finally, a personal message from me. And more than that, also for stimulus. But if you need help with rent, utilities, food, and internet, reach out to the volunteers. Where are they? They're in the description of this video. Go down the description till you find a link to the community page. It's news.la.com/community. On the community page, the volunteers will help you find that money for rent, utilities, food, and internet, and more. Here's a little bit about them, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Evenings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. home. LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA with a lot of breaking news coming in from Congress about their dates and deadlines, which are now changing. And changing in the last few hours. I have all the details in the final 15 minutes of this video. But first, how are you? Thank you for joining me across the board. Subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay on this video. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, currently playing live on the channel. Then Sirloins at 8 o'clock and other shows tonight as well. Stay with this channel as new shows are added in the next few days. As you see the expansion of programming across this channel, to ensure you get financial independence. When running for the highest law office in the land, the President of the United States said that he was going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. He did not deliver. He said he's going to raise your veterans' benefits up. He did not deliver. So now the Democratic caucus is taking care of this in what's called fifth stimulus. When is fifth stimulus? Just a few days away from now. Fifth stimulus starts drafting in legislative mode in September. And they work on this for months until it goes to a vote around November that could impact your benefits nearly right away. They'll first raise up your benefits, and then they'll apply a benchmark in December for next year. Let's go over all the details. Number one, they'll raise your benefits limits up. Then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let's go over who that's for. It's for you. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. First step is they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Next, they'll then they'll apply the benchmark. The benchmark will be applied in December. What is the benchmark? It's inflation. Where's inflation going? It's being transitory. Transitory? Is that like Transylvania? No, it's transitory. No, it's not like a vampire. It goes to a spike before it comes back down. And that spike is in December. Yes, right when they apply your benchmark. So how high is that inflation rate going to go? Well, the new jobless claims number was released this morning, and it was the best number since the pandemic started. Unemployment continues to drop across the country, signaling that inflation may be red hot. My number I've been using, about 5% inflation for that spike. Let's go over the analysis. First, they'll raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the benchmark. And if the inflation rate is 5%, you'll step up another 5%, not just next year, lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going to go away, so you have some muddled. Did you call this muddled? How dare you? It's not muddled. It's just blue. Some blue Crayola crowns in your hand. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, the income cap, dating back to the 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding like Rob and Sandy. And if your benefits were lost because of marriage, they'll be restored. Meantime, they represent those House Ways and Means subcommittee members that they'll be giving you a fifth stimulus check as well this fall, in the fifth stimulus as well. But finally, if you're in the live chat and you don't have a purple hawk emoji next to your name, what are you doing? Join today. When you join, you learn about all the big sums of money you can be getting across the board from second stimulus, from third stimulus, because these are all application-based and you can be getting these massive sums of money that other purple hawks are getting across the board. Let's go over why this is so important. When this channel launched in spring of last year, I wasn't covering the subject. I was covering other subjects. And I noticed that some people were saying elsewhere, when am I getting my second stimulus check in May 2020? I need it to pay a bill. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. And people were dependent upon the day the check came. Well, it didn't come in May. In fact, it didn't come all the way to December or January. So people made themselves dependent upon that check. That's not how you do it. You want to be financially independent. So when I started covering this subject matter, that was the first measures I said. You cannot be dependent upon when a check arrives. You can't be a donut guy. And I said, hey, there's a $600 second stimulus check, but don't be focused on it. Be focused on the other sums of money, upwards of $6,000 you can get from second stimulus. And guess what? That's what everyone did. Tyrone and his family of four were among the people who got $250,000 from this channel. He got $15,000, freed up his entire financial freedom for rent for 6 months. And then in January, I launched it in bigger format. Purple Hawks, showing people that when third stimulus is passed, there'll be a $1,400 stimulus check. You will get it and you will spend it and say, where's my next check? And there won't be a next check in February or March. I said you can't be dependent upon the arrival of the check. You need to be getting these other sums of money that are in third stimulus that are far more money, much more money, that are application based. And at the time I said I can get you $14,000. Well, I didn't get you $14,000. I got viewers 20,000 and 30,000 and now 50,000. Day in, day out, another viewer has a success story. Send me your success stories on social media. Viewers are now getting that incredible financial freedom because financial freedom is where things happen. Let me show you what's going on. Consider becoming a member. The link's under the video where it says join here. What's going on is the following. Is the federal government in all these stimulus packages understands you got bills. And you maybe have 7 bills. Let's go over those 7 bills the federal government sees you have. You have rent, you have utilities, you have food, you have internet, you have medicine or mortgage. And then you got a car in the driveway that needs to be fixed, and you have a grandkid that needs some new tennis shoes for school. Well, the federal government ain't going to pay for some tennis shoes, and the federal government ain't going to pay for the car, but it'll pay for the first 5 items. It'll pay for medicine and food and rent and internet and utilities. So let them. In an application-based stimulus package, you need to go apply and get that money. Because when you do, you've given yourself an enormous financial freedom. Because those bills are now paid 4, 6, 8 months by the federal government, and you will have all that cash freed up that you'll no longer have to pay for those 5 items yourself, and the cash you have will stay in the bank. And instead, you'll have that cash to buy the shoes and fix the car. That's financial freedom. And that is where we are going into fourth stimulus. And the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now. Deal done. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people in the fourth stimulus recon. The fourth stimulus recon procedural passed this week. What does it mean? It means that there's $3.5 trillion of checks being spent on the American people in the biggest recon we've ever seen in history. This recon is the biggest because other ones have been consumed for corporations. This is all for the American people. Checks, checks, checks of all types of life. The recon is so big that there's more than enough room for a stimulus check in there. And while the recon was passed in procedural mode, we do not have the substantive elements definitive because it's only recommendation at the moment. They can do what they want. It's called non-binding. But here's some of the items that they're recommending to include. Checks for seniors, checks for workers, or more. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, election checks, closing the digital divide checks, worker protection checks, lots of checks for you, checks for independent contractors, checks for collective bargaining, and checks for seniors, including checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing care. What did they pass this week for the recon? They passed what's called the recon procedural, not the recon substantive. The recon procedural basically asks 2 questions. Should we do a recon at a later date with a price tag of $3.5 trillion? Yes. And how should we split that money among U.S. subcommittees of Congress? This proportion. And that's all it does. So what's going to happen next is they're going to send the recon procedural to the House, now that's passed the Senate, and the recon procedural will pass the House instantly. It's not going to be a big issue whatsoever because the House members were part of the discussion of $3.5 trillion, so they already have agreed to that price tag and they've already agreed to the split. So once they do that, then it's time for recon substantive. Let me go over what you need to know first with the voting process. Then I'm going to go over some dates. Then I'm going to go over the substance. Then I'm going to go over a familiar friend. And then I'll go over a personal message. All right, first, the voting process. Nancy Pelosi spoke overnight and had great comments. What did she say? Well, first, she basically validated what the president had said earlier. This is what the president said earlier, that if only the bipartisan comes to me, and that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. I also have to have the recon. The president also said, I'm not just signing the bipartisan forgetting about the recon. I proposed another piece of legislation, the recon. So that's the president as to law. Now, Nancy Pelosi, about a week ago, had issued a comment that was questioned by me 2 days ago, saying, in which I said, is she referring to the whole recon or just the recon procedural? We now know she was referring to the whole recon, thank goodness. She says, as I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill pass. Plain and simple, in fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be a bipartisan unless we have the recon bill pass. And Jalapal, this quote's very important because I'm going to show you in a second why. We had a poll of our House members, and they overwhelmingly said they're not going to support the bipartisan unless they have the recon passed. So Nancy Pelosi spoke overnight. So what did she say in her comments? In her comments overnight, she said that she's not freelancing. What does that mean? It's not just her talking. She says, I've met with my Democratic caucus members, and they are only doing this if the whole recon is passed. If the whole recon is passed, then they'll do the bipartisan. Great news. So when she's clarified her prior position, which was, I'm only doing the whole recon, not just part of the recon, doing the whole recon, and has to be done. Otherwise, I'm not doing the bipartisan. Number two, that she has the whole Democratic caucus behind her. Let me give you the quote and explain to you what she means. I'm not freeballing. I'm not freelancing. This is the consensus of the caucus. The vote in the House and Senate depends on us having both bills. At some point, this has to be done or null nothing. So let me go over what that means. What that means is that Nancy is basically saying that she has the support of her House members, incredible unity to pass for stimulus recon only when it is passed. So she's not going to just do roads and bridges. She's going to do recon, and then she's going to get to roads and bridges. Why is this big? I'll show you this in a second, but basically it's because there's apparently 3 moderate House members, 3 out of a massive House that has hundreds of people in it, that say, just do the roads and bridges. I need the roads and bridges passed right now for my own personal political agenda. And Nancy says, who cares about your personal political agenda? I have hundreds of people in the House who are Democrats who say, no, you have to do all the recon right now. So now let me go over the voting process. Then I'm going to go over the recon substantive. Then I'm going to go back to those 3 people I just spoke about, and they'll have a personal message for you as well. So first, let's go over some new dates that have been revealed. First, the recon procedural will take up a vote in the House of Representatives earlier than we were initially told. They reportedly will be voting on this on August 23rd, we're now told. Recon procedural, PH House. The vote on the recon procedural in the House of Representatives on April 23rd. Number 2, by September 15th, the recon substantive bill will be voted on, says Leader Schumer. The breaking news today, with the asterisk next to H, is that there's reports they may start the recon substantive on the House side, not the Senate side. I love that. You know why? Because the recon substantive is being written by subcommittees in the House. So it makes sense to start on the House side. Moreover, the House members are mostly all progressive. They're likely to give you more money than the senators. So I like stuff starting on the House side. And if you'll vote in House or Senate early in this video, you probably like it starting on the House side as well. Finally, a new report today says that the White House and progressives have been considering getting the entire recon done by September 30th. This means every single thing, down to becoming law by September 30th. All right, now let's cut back to the recon substantive. So the recon substantive is currently being written in these subcommittees. And this is why you have to push Purple Power, because they're currently writing it. And that's why it's so critical. They've made promises to you about what they're going to put in there. Now is the time and place to push, because this is where they're writing the recon substantive. Which brings us back to a familiar face back in the mix. Last night I tested on social media, and the overwhelming reaction was, bring it back. And you know what's coming back. It's Seats for Stimulus. Seats for Stimulus is coming back, which basically started in 2020. I created the concept of it. It trended at the time in 2020, which basically says, you give us stimulus or we're going to take your congressional seat. That's what that means. Your seats, otherwise, you give us stimulus or we're going to take your seats. There's House seats up for grabs in the November 2021 election, 6 of them. And then the Senate election in November 2022 is 34 seats, which is enormous. I mean, it's 34 of 100 seats. So the entire House could fall, or the entire Senate could fall, based upon the outcome of this 4th stimulus. The messaging should be loud and clear that you deliver us exactly what we want, or we're not voting for you. We're taking your seats. Purple Power, we're taking your seats. Which brings me back to those 3 people I spoke about earlier in this video. Notice those three people early in this video? Three Democratic progressives that wouldn't even say their name on record that said, you know what, I'm trying to really get Nancy to just call the vote on the infrastructure, the roads and bridges, because I need that to go back to my local jurisdiction to show them I did something when I'm up for re-election. One thing I didn't make clear earlier today, can you look at the graphic? Let's look at the graphic again. The article says three of them. Yeah, there's six seats. So 50% of the people who are up for House re-election are trying to use certain things to help themselves. Well, you can see how we can be opportunistic here as the purple power. You can also say, oh, you're up for re-election? Well, you better give us the darn stimulus. You better give us the darn stimulus. And guess what? We have the power of numbers, because if all 6 seats fell to Republicans, then Nancy would be in a very bad situation in the House. Can't do that. So you have to ensure that they give you the stimulus. Finally, personal message. You've been doing great over the last few days. It's hard when Chuck Schumer says he's going to deliver something by a certain date and he doesn't deliver it. Said the whole thing was going to become law by July 4th. Didn't deliver it. Said the whole thing was going to become law by the August recess. Didn't deliver it. And along the way, here we are. But at least we know where we're heading. It's important to stay focused. It's important to push. But it's also really important not to be a donut guy or donut gal. There's been some comments for some people where they see a date and then they say, oh, so that means I'm getting it on that day. Earlier today on Mornings LA, for example, when I first showed this graphic of this one, someone saw the 9:30 date and someone immediately in the comments said, oh, so on September 30th, I'm receiving a check. That's not what the graphic says. The graphic says vote. And moreover, it always concerns me that people want to track dates so religiously. It's important at this stage of the game, where money is being spent in enormous sums of money, $3.5 trillion in committees, that you're focusing more on pushing these elected officials to give you the money, rather than pushing on the date of the calendar, if I can make that clear. My personal message at the end of the day is that I want you to push Purple Power to get our money. Pushing Purple Power is to push to get money. It's also to push to get people get things done quicker. But you can't make people do things quicker when they're not actually there. Chuck Schumer has delivered his timeline, and Nancy Pelosi has delivered our timeline, and here we are. But it's not time or place to be a donut person, to say, okay, I'll see you back on September 30th to collect my check. No. While the rest of us push this Purple Power, you want to sit back and just put your feet up on the reclining chair and ask where your check is on September 30th? No, not time or place to do that. You have to push, because now we have a certain time frame for these elected officials to write the legislation. Remember, they're not out of town. They're writing the legislation now. And this is the time and place to really push. So focus your attention with Seats for Stimulus, hashtag Seats for Stimulus, hashtag Purple Power. Call your elected officials, tweet them, send them messages, call them up, say, you better be giving us stimulus checks. You better be putting this money in there, because it's not time or place to do that after September 30th. Because after September 30th, legislation will be written, and modifying legislation that's written is harder than pushing people to do it beforehand. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. Recognize what you're part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Oh, and stop the music. Meantime, stay with me this weekend, because there's going to be a lot of breaking news. You saw in that graphic how some of these timelines are changing. Nancy, Bernie, all these people are going to be on talk radio on Sunday morning news talking about these timelines. They understand the importance of these timelines. Elections are coming just around the corner in October, November. So stay with me this weekend, because there's a lot of breaking details, and stay with me tomorrow. You saw how dates have changed so much in the last 24 hours. So run the music. And so with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers. Like this video. Never forget to like the video. Stay on this video. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. This video will automatically take you there, and coming up at 8 o'clock is Sirloin. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful evening across the board. Always stay positive, always stay focused, and always stay here for more across the land. So long as everything stays good and focused, we are good as a family. Have a beautiful evening. I'll see you next on Overnight.